Hi, it's Brandon Latack here with Michael. Welcome to the Pro Laugh Podcast.
It's the Pro Life Podcast.
It's pro-life, a movement and a podcast. It's pro-life.
Yes,
Michael, you pumped or what?
dude, I'm really stoked about this. Been looking forward to this for a while. We've been tossing ideas around, so it's good to see you as always, and I'm excited to see where this episode goes.
Yeah, for sure. So we have a few different segments. We're going to start on current events.
Yes. Well,
Have
can
you
I
heard?
say before we do that?
Yeah.
Can I say, at least from I don't know if we know what this podcast is about. We'll figure out as we go. We kind of have an idea. Pro laugh movement is hilarious to me. I think it's killer catchy, and I think from my perspective, dude, like it just reiterates. Well, my hat, like I always say, laughter is greater than outrage, right? And being willing to like find the funny in anything and everything, and I'd rather have a laugh together than outrage. So being pro laugh about every situation. Yeah,
For sure.
That's kind of like my take. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff that happens every single day. I feel like if you can't laugh, you'll go nuts. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, should be a fun, entertaining podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to, dude? I think you should say a word like, "Who are you, dude? Like, where are you located? What are we?" Yeah, like, let's give some people some context before we jump into that first one.
Yeah, for sure. So I live in Minnesota in the Twin Cities. Started comedy about 3 months ago. So kind of, I've been writing for quite a while, but yeah, kind of stand-up journey started 3 months ago. And yeah, it's been a blast. I love it. And yeah, it's been a ton of fun.
So when you say stand-up journey, you mean like actually stepping on stage with a mic?
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wrote for about a year prior to that. But to be honest, I was so afraid to get up on stage. So it took me about a year.
Dude, people say that all the time, right? They're like, I had a friend a few weeks ago. He was like asking me at the dinner table. He was like, "What made you want to do this? Like, what would make anybody like want to do this?" And honestly, dude, it's a fair question, right? You gotta have a little bit of like crazy in you to do it, and you have to have a little bit of ego, I think, in you to do
Yep.
it. Like, did it take some ego to get up and like think? I can make this room full of strangers laugh. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like crazy. Because I think for the most part, dude, we're all like funny around our family and our friends in our own way. It's
Yeah.
comfortable. But getting up there with a room full of strangers, different ballgame. Yes, dude, it's impressive that you've only been at it 3 months. I've been at it for about 14, so this is month 14 for me.
What would you say? What are some of the things that you didn't know about comedy before you started that like you know now and you kind of wish you would have known?
I didn't know how exciting it was gonna be to get paid $20 to stand up and tell jokes. Like that was probably the most exciting $20 I've ever made.
Yeah.
The first time I got paid, and at the same time, it's hard. It's really challenging to get yourself into a position where you're like a paid regular somewhere. It's way harder than I think most people have a clue about, right? So
Right. Because pretty much anything else you do in life, if you work that hard as you do for comedy, you get paid a little quicker on it,
and more.
and more. Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely some delayed gratification with comedy.
Yeah, so I got paid $20, and then at the next open mic, I made a joke about it. I mean, at this time, by the way, I just resigned from my full-time job. So I made a joke, something to the effect of like, now I'm getting paid. I got paid $20. Now I'm getting paid more to do comedy, than I am anything else. I can't remember how the joke went, but
Yeah.
dude, it pissed another comedian off. He confronted me after that open mic. And this dude's probably been in it 10, 15 years. And he's like, why you went $20? He's like, he's in my face. He's like, you know how long it took me to make $20 as a comedian? And so, dude, that's another thing. I mean, it's hard to find, like, I don't know, it's hard to find people that are on your wavelength, like your community, your people. That's hard, dude. That's really hard.
It is kind of interesting because it's like you are in this group that, you're in the same boat, but it's also on some level like there's some competition to it as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's like that limited good situation, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you got mic time, you're taking mic time away from me. And if you're getting paid for your time on the mic, then you're taking paid mic time away from me.
I
So
feel like the more funny people though, the better everybody does. It's like it's just good for everybody because then
I
you're
agree.
gonna step your game up, like
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. And a lot of that's just insecurity. But there is this whole thing, another thing like that I've encountered. They call it skipping line, right?
Okay.
Or jumping line. And in the comedy world, you have a lot of gatekeepers, bro. People who've been in the game a long time. They want to be gatekeepers. Some of them have positioned themselves as gatekeepers. And if you're in it 3 months, you meet some of these gatekeepers that won't let you get paid. They will block you, until they feel like you've put in the requisite time. And so, like, for me to start getting paid, 8 7 8 months into my comedy career, some people didn't like that, and
Okay.
you get accused of jumping line. Uh uh you get put on a, like, bill or a ticket somewhere in a lineup somewhere that other people have been at it longer than you. I did a show, bro, at the Blue Club. That's where all the, like, good comedians, they come and perform at this club. That was my last show in Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
and I was telling somebody there, hey, I'm on the Blue Note May 20th, and the dude was like, what? Like, he was shocked and pissed because I got on the Blue Note, and he's like, dude, I've been at this much longer than you, and you already beat me to the Blue Note. Like, and it's that whole, like, you're jumping line thing. He wasn't hating necessarily, but
Yeah.
he was a little, like, mystified and peeved about that,
It's
right?
kind of like a jealousy thing though, more than anything, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. So your friends, like, I think you can find friends in this game, but it's hard to find friends. Like, it's people who, like, who want you to do your best and who want the best for you
Yeah.
and aren't gonna be salty when you take 3 steps ahead and they're still 2 steps back, right?
Yeah.
Like, so for me, just in life, like, I'm that kind of person. I try to promote people, connect people, and if people pass me, then so be it. But as you said, like, I think upping our game makes everybody better.
Mm-hmm.
Tide lifts all ships. Um, that's how I want to be. I want to have a circle of people where we're all promoting each other, lifting each other up, rather than being jealous and tearing each other down and all that. So those are some of the things, bro, that there's a lot more. Joke writing can be exhausting. That's another thing. What about you, man? What's something you've learned?
Yeah. So I realize like there is a lot of waiting with stand-up comedy. You go, you sign up for an open mic, you wait to see if you get on, and if you get on, you're waiting for your turn. Just yeah, there's a lot of waiting for
Yeah,
3 to 5 minutes or whatever. But
yeah, dude.
kind
And
of
if
is
you're,
what it is. But
it's hard. To me, that's one of the the biggest, like, drawbacks to stand up comedy, specifically, like, open mic scene.
yeah,
All the waiting, and, like, I want to be at home with my kids, man. I want to be at my kids' sporting events and school events, like. And so I've had to sacrifice comedy a lot of times in the past year to make sure I'm at those things.
yeah, yeah.
And it's definitely cost me spots. So a
I
lot of
bring
waiting.
now what I do so I don't drive myself crazy is I bring a notebook and I just like I write jokes for that time that I'm waiting. Essentially, that
That's a
fills
great
time a
idea.
little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah,
oh, another thing I kind of realized was like, when you start out, it's almost like you think a funny premise is the funny joke, but like a
yeah.
funny premise is just it's a premise. You have to turn it into a joke. If
That's
not,
it.
it's a
That's
eight
it.
eight minute story with one
That's
punchline.
right. That's the number one thing that bothers me about going to open mics and listening to other, comedians, particularly newer comedians, because exactly what you're saying, dude. They confuse a funny premise for a joke when a funny premise is just a premise. It's not a joke until the premise connects with a punch, right? 100%. I agree totally with that, bro. Yes. Yeah. And a lot of people do have funny premises.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the struggle is working that into a joke, into a working joke. That's
Right.
the hard part.
Right.
That's the hard.
How do you
Yeah.
put surprise in that?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, right on.
So you want to take a look at some current events?
Yeah, I just moved. I've been a little out of the loop news wise, but I've kind of been hearing some things. So yeah, what do we got on the radar this week? What's going on in the world?
All right, nothing too crazy. LA riots right now. Yeah. So
Man,
I don't when was the last time they had it? Wasn't it like
Rodney King?
what? That's like 30 years ago or something. You make it sound like last week.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I was talking to a car dealer today, dude. I was driving around like a car to see if I want to buy it, right?
Yeah.
Test driving. And we were talking about the Rodney King thing. That's funny. And he was telling me, I didn't know this, but that Hyundai, whatever.
Honda, yeah.
The Hyundai, they literally changed the name of one of their cars because I think of the vehicle that either King was driving or the police were driving. Somebody was driving. Like Hyundai got like such a bad rap, they had to change the name of one of their cars. Like,
No
I
way.
don't know. Yeah, dude. Well, I need to look more into that, but that's funny. So the LA stuff though, man, like, yeah, I saw some videos today of like a dude in a motorcycle helmet throwing rocks at police cars. I saw, bro, that there were like pallets of bricks dropped off nearby where people could go grab bricks. Did you see this?
Oh, that was like that sounds similar to the 2020 riots a little bit too. You know,
Yeah, dude.
like pallets of stuff dropped off.
Same thing. I was thinking I'm a conservative, whatever. But I was thinking I saw some cars on fire today, which seems to be like the liberal go-to, right? Burn Teslas and wherever something's going wrong, just start fires, right? But we heard for years, so since the January 6th, bro. Liberals, leftists been yelling, crying, whining, screaming about J6. But what about this kind of stuff, dude? What about this kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of wild because I almost don't know what to believe on the media because you have one side where they're saying like it's all the protesters that are doing things, but then you have the other side that's like, no, it's the National Guard or something that are doing something. And it's like I don't know what the heck. But I guess what's the riot or what is the protest against?
So my understanding is on the surface level that people are frustrated with how ICE is doing deportations, right? So they are protesting ICE. They're protesting deportations. So they're like anti-ICE protests.
Okay.
That's my understanding of it.
Okay.
Another wild thing is just like we saw it a few months back with the Palestine stuff, pro-Palestine stuff. Like, protesters this time, right? They're in LA, dude, the United States of America. They're in LA waving Mexico flags, but they don't want to leave the US. That's like the mind-boggling thing to me, right? It's like waving around like a picture of a girl you dumped and shouting "I love you" at the same time. I don't know.
Right.
Like, it's just, dude, it's cognitive dissonance, So yeah, dude, that blows my mind. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
I think the Palestine thing was interesting because you had like hunger strikes. So there'd be somebody that would say like, I'm going on a hunger strike for Palestine or something. And I'm just thinking like, how long did it take for them to be like, all right, yeah, let's go to Chick-fil-A now, like.
Yeah, dude, nobody's hunger striking, right? I mean,
Right.
Nobody's really hunger striking. And, for me, I'm really interested in like the source of this stuff. Cause like, and this is where people be, you conspiracy theorists. But have you heard a guy named Neville Singham? All right. So if you're watching or listening to this podcast, even you, bro. Look up the name Neville Singham, and it may be that he is one of the key figures or the key figure in relation to all of these like protests, like the BLM stuff, the pro-Palestine stuff, the university campus protest, as well as this protest. So it's
Is he the
huge.
money behind it?
Yes, yes. No, and so he's got really close ties to China. In fact, my understanding, he lives in Shanghai. He has an office there, and he works closely with a bunch of like the Chinese communist news or media networks, as well as just the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. And
Mm-hmm.
so my understanding is that he is like the big node that connects these things, his money, right? And
So
the
to create almost like infighting inside the U.S. to make it to
civil unrest.
destabilize it.
Yeah, to create civil unrest, bro. And so yeah, I mean, then you like start to like zoom back, right? And you gotta ask about things like BLM, and then you gotta zoom out more about things like the COVID stuff that seemed to be manufactured in Wuhan in a
Mm-hmm.
lab and dispersed from there. So it seems like and then, there's been a lot of talk. People get mad about this, but, the TikTok stuff, and the different crazes that hit TikTok, based out of a Chinese company, and, like the transgender stuff, the transgender phenomenon.
Well, TikTok's interesting because in China, kids aren't able to see a lot of the dances. It's like more science and arithmetic. And then our crackheads over here, that's that's what they're doing.
Exactly, and it seems like a long-term play,
Yeah.
right, to get a generation to raise up a generation of idiots, so
Mm-hmm.
that in a generation the country will be completely vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it seems like we're falling for it.
You
But
ever
so
think like they're like okay, so in the US, you're there for 4 years, possibly 8 years. I don't know about you, but like you start hitting your stride maybe in year 3 of a job.
right,
I feel like Putin and China kind of have a advantage a little bit because they can play the long game because they're going to be there like forever.
right,
Not that I'm saying I want a dictatorship, but that is a
right.
competitive advantage that they have.
It is, yeah, dude. They can build dynasties, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like kingdoms,
Yeah.
and they can have their children fill in, like when they're done, and these kinds of things. It's definitely, bro. I think you're right. It is a bit of an advantage, and it definitely seems to pave the way for war and corruption and all that stuff. Yeah, dude. When I look at the LA riots, it's easy to see on the surface that it's just anti-ICE protests, but when you like pull back, zoom back a little bit, it seems like it's way more going on than that. That this is probably CCP funded protests to create civil unrest, more civil unrest. Yeah.
Also, like the with the school when it was protesting against Israel, pro-Palestine, or whatever, and like
Yeah.
all of the tents were the same tents. It's like, wait, why wouldn't it be a bunch of different tents? It's like, so those were
Right.
all purchased somewhere, you
Exactly.
know?
Yep, exactly. So there's definitely the funding of tents and bricks and flags and scarves and like all these things behind it.
It kind of
Um,
sucks though for the people that actually want to protest it, but like do it the right way because their
right.
message like gets drowned out by some idiot lighting a fire when like maybe you should listen to them or something. Like maybe they do have a good point, but
Yeah.
if people on your side are doing crazy stuff, it's tough to listen to.
Yeah, 100%. So I don't know. China is like, dude, they're pro at creating civil unrest in America, right? And I think they've discovered America's weakness and they're exploiting it, right? The McRib sandwich. No, just kidding. It's these like social issues and a lot of times these protesters are paid, so that's
Mhm.
another element of it. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy.
So another thing going on, Walmart's expanding its drone delivery to 100 additional stores. It's at 15 stores now. What do you think about drone delivery for Walmart
Oh,
and
dude.
potentially Amazon?
The whole drone thing, I mean, it's wild, right? Because with the 100, the expansion to 100 additional stores, it's like now you can Now you can get all the low prices of Walmart with none of the danger of going there. You're like safer going to an anti-ICE protest in LA than you are in most Walmarts, bro.
So you actually want someone to fight for their Q-tips.
Right? Oh man, I don't know. Like I think this gets tricky really fast. Like really fast. There's so many variables to this, right? And we're gonna see very quickly just how like racist Walmart really is, and like how socially unjust Walmart, economically unjust Walmart. Because it's going to be like the CEO is going to be like, and we're not going to deliver to a number of neighborhoods for obvious reasons, right? And so we're going to find out, yeah, real quick.
How much they care.
Yeah, right.
I just envision a guy like on his front porch with a shotgun seeing these things fly through. And I mean, it's clay shooting season.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like Duck Dynasty's going to love this, bro.
Yeah.
They are going to love it. And, like, I don't know. It seems like the U.S., though, like the military is probably like, haven't they been doing this for like decades in like Afghanistan and stuff?
Oh, I'm sure.
Delivering stuff right to people's houses and doors. And yeah, I don't know. So
not good things, but yeah, they've been delivering things. Yeah.
Exactly. And what'll happen when a Walmart drone and an Amazon drone shows up at my house at the same time? So that's going to be interesting too. Yeah, I think people are going to shoot them down, steal them, try to steal these drones.
Someone's going to lose a digit too.
Yeah, that's exactly right, dude. I have a drone, and the previous one I had, dude, I had so many problems with this drone flying it in Hawaii, right?
Because of wind.
Was on a beach there once. Lifted this drone up maybe 6 feet into the air, and dude, it just had a mind of its own. Beeline and hit this lady in front of me and cut her hand, bro.
No.
Her husband got up in my face, and he looked like he was gonna kill me. Another time I went to a beach, lifted the drone up, got it out. A windstorm rolls in. I kid you not. It took the drone out to sea. So the drone is like fighting to come back, right? And I can't find where it is. I can't get it back. But it's trying to come home because the battery's dying. It lands a mile away at a park. I can still see it, where it is on my phone app. So I drive. I got my family and a family friend's kid with me. So I drive to this park, dude. This is 100% true story. I jump out of the car, go try to like find the drone. I swear to you, this is true. This homeless guy and him and his wife, they got their little wagon there. They like see me coming, and he stands up, dude. He's got my $1,500 DJI drone. He throws this thing at me like a baseball, dude.
No.
Yes, dude. Broke my drone. He starts cussing me out. My wife and kids and the family friend's kid, they're standing there watching. Yeah, dude. So that drone never flew the same after that. I went and got it repaired. So
was he mad that you came back for it, or what?
He said he was cussing me out, saying it almost killed him and his wife. So I think it would have been wild to see that scene. I mean, just imagine sitting on the beach, right? You and your wife, and then here comes a drone right towards you. Post-apocalyptic triggers? I don't know. Oh, what are you thinking, man? How's this all going to play out with the Walmart drones?
Yeah, I think, let's see. They're going to have to be relatively big, aren't they? To be able to carry anything?
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, could you imagine a drone carrying like a coffee table across the city? It like drops. What is it, like one of those claws and
like claw machine? Yeah.
Somebody's just operating that claw, or that thing like gives out, all the time.
Well, here's the other thing. Think about it. Like there's people that can barely handle like the self checkout. They're the person that stands there. And now that they got to drive that drone to a house, without killing somebody? Are you kidding me?
Dude, this is wild territory we're in. I mean,
it is.
Isn't people manning these drones at first, and then eventually they just put in like a route, and it takes,
Oh, okay.
no humans are involved. Kind of like the electric car
Yeah,
phenomenon.
that would almost be better actually to get humans out of it, I would think.
For sure.
Do you know how much comedy ammo we're gonna have with these drones? Huh?
It's going to be great. I mean, people are going to try to hack these things.
Yeah, that too.
People are going to connect things to them to send back. I mean, it's going to, I don't know, dude, it's wild territory we're in.
In the last current event, so college athletes are now allowed to get paid directly from schools. What do you think?
It kind of pisses me off that they're doing this now. I played college soccer.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I have mixed feelings about it. Like, it kind of just seems to have all the trappings of like inviting scandal, you know? So I don't know. You think of guys like Rick Pitino, and he's already been involved in tons of scandal. How's this gonna, play out? It's gonna definitely create like a hierarchy on the teams. I mean, there's already a hierarchy, but this is just gonna, college basketball just gonna be all about the blame now, or what? Like it's
Yeah, I think you'll have the haves and have-nots
yeah, dude.
on
Exactly.
that. But I think it's cool that I think college NCAA messed this up a long time ago where they were so stringent. No, you don't get paid anything, but they got paid so much money, and it's like there was no middle ground with them. So then when they ended up getting sued, it ended up like the whole dam broke. But it might be
Yeah.
a good thing though, because some of those coaches were going to cheat anyway,
Right. Yeah.
and they were going to pay players anyway. Now everyone gets to pay players.
I mean, they already found ways around it. When I was teaching, like at the University of Kentucky, for example, and I teach at a college now, like, dude, kids get free shoes and free shirts and pants and haircuts and food, like, and housing. So they found ways around it already. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, right? Most of the money is probably going to go to like football players and basketball players, and like half the chess club is going to have to share a $5 gift certificate to Subway, right?
Right. Well, what
Like,
about like Title IX though? Will that go in effect where the women's sports have to get paid the same as the men's sports, or you know what I
dude,
mean?
that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. That is inviting that issue, and it's hard to imagine that that's going to be the case, right? Because even at the collegiate level, at this point in time, it doesn't seem like women's sports tend to have the draw that men's sports have. Still, maybe that'll change, but yeah, they're opening a can of worms there with that as well. So I don't know, dude. It just seems like a great way for the NCAA to teach kids about bribery. I don't know, like, but I get the argument that you're making, that these kids have been workhorses and taken advantage of, for so long. So I get that side of it too. But it seems to me like it's gonna create more problems than it solves. So we'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like there's almost like no going back from this.
Right. Right.
Like, because you try to take this away in a few years, and old Neville is going to have another protest funding on his hand, right?
Right. And I think the courts have had a settlement, so now there's like judicial things tied to it, so it'd be really tough to claw stuff back.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. The Chinese Communist Party is going to have another way to create civil unrest in a few years. So we'll see, man. I don't know. I honestly don't know, and I have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah. I think overall I'm fine with it. It'd be kind of a bummer for the smaller schools though, because that'll be tough to compete against some of the bigger schools, but
That's true. Yeah, there's that too.
yeah, we'll see. But I'm glad they're getting paid at least.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting to see like the statistics, and is this going to be incentive to keep college athletes like in the NCAA basketball around longer?
Oh yeah, because what if technically you were getting paid more in college than potentially pro for your first year?
Yeah, exactly. And then like at University of Kentucky, right? The trend, which I hate as a UK grad, the trend is like one and done kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like you come for a year and then you're off to the NBA. I hate that. I feel like it's ruined UK's legacy.
UK's had a lot of one and dones too.
Yeah, they have. We used to win championships. Now we just recruit great players and get a couple games deep into the tournament, if that. We used to have fourth year seniors, on a team. And I think when you lack that sort of depth, it really inhibits your program. So will this money be incentive to keep them around? I don't know. We'll see.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point too.
Yeah.
Do you want to work on a joke?
Sure, I'm always working on jokes. So yeah, I'll bring one up here. Let's see. Do you just want me to tell you the joke in its current form? I have one joke that I have a punch to,
Yeah.
and I have another that I don't have a punch to, but I have what I think is a good setup.
Okay.
So
and what we'll do is we'll put it on the screen too, so people can see it on the screen and then kind of play along on it.
You want me to copy and paste it onto the screen here?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I can put it on after.
All right.
Yeah.
So here's the joke. I haven't edited it down. This is in its first draft form.
Okay.
It's longer than my jokes typically are. So, by the way, for me, my own personal rule is for my jokes to be 18 to 2 words.
Why is that?
I never want a joke more than 22 words if possible. And the only exception I give myself to that is if there's going to be like several, 2 or 3 like rapid fire tags right afterward.
So is that setup and punchline 22?
And punchline.
Okay.
So, and my setup needs to be like 8/10 of 80% of, the joke. So part of this is I'm a writing professor. And I've been teaching writing for a long time, but I try to keep I try to encourage my students, keep your sentences between 11 and 14 words, or no more than 14 words, right? Because we know studies have been done that at 11 words, when somebody's listening or reading, the listener or reader, their capacity to follow is cut in half, at 50% at 11 words. So every word after that, the percentage goes down.
Interesting.
By
Okay.
the time you get to like 16 words, it's like, I don't know, 70% of the audience will have lost track.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to even 18 words, it's down to like, 80. So I'm working with that in mind. And so I want my setup to usually be about 12 to 14, 15 words, and my punchline to be 3 to 5 words, something like that.
Okay.
So that's my own personal, sort of guide and rule.
Yeah.
I don't set that for everybody else, but that's strictly based off of studies, like actual rigorous studies, scientific studies showing comprehension levels among folks.
Makes sense though too, because sometimes in the setup, if you add more than one subject and you're bouncing around, no one can track what
That's
you're talking
right.
about.
So what you're going to hear in this first draft of a joke is going to make, it's going to run into that exact problem that you're identifying. All right, here's what I got so far. My allergies have been so crazy that I've started snoring every night.
Okay.
And my wife walked into the house yesterday, and in an attempt to tell me what to do, she said, "Here," and threw me a box of nasal strips. That could never work the other way around, right? Like, I couldn't just walk in and throw her driving lessons. Right. So that's the joke in its current form.
Got it. Okay.
Way too many words, way too much information.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can process that if you want.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got allergies, right?
Yeah.
And they're making you snore.
Yeah.
Your wife, when she walks in, she throw at you? Nasal spray?
Nasal strips.
Nasal
That's why
strips.
I got this little bruise on my nose. You see that?
Oh.
I've slept with nasal strips the last 2 nights.
Remember they used to do that in the NFL? They'd wear those?
Right. Yeah. Yep. So it looks like I got hit by an NFL player a little bit. Yeah, so that's it. She threw me nasal strips.
Got it. Okay. And then the punchline, I can't do that same thing to her.
Yeah.
And then driving lessons, right?
Yeah, I could never just walk in and be like, "Here," and throw her driving lessons. And so that punch could actually, driving lessons could be changed with a lot of things. Keep it clean, right? That could be changed with a lot of things. You could do the typical chauvinist stuff too, like cooking lessons, right? Or whatever. Like anything could go there.
Yeah. Do you find like, so cooking lessons there, you might lose the women in the room then, right?
That's right.
On that part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Driving lessons is way more sort of neutral, right?
Right.
Because that includes multiple people groups like women and Asians. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke. So yeah, that's where it's at right now.
Nice. Okay. So biggest,
So my immediate thing is I could just start trimming it down, right?
Yeah.
Word count, and try to get it. That would really be my next step. Try to get it down to 18 to 22 words. 20 is kind of the sweet spot.
could you kind of because there's really not much tension there. Could you up the tension to say my wife hates my allergies or something like that? So then, you know,
So what about this? The first line was, my allergies have been so crazy that I've started snoring at night.
yeah,
I mean, there could almost be a punch there. Again, like if we went dirty, we could make up a bunch of stuff. But like let's try to keep it clean.
yeah.
My allergies have been so crazy that I started snoring at night.
Hey, I appreciate your prefaces with me. All right, Brandon, just tone this one down a little bit, okay? I know you got a dirty one. Just oh, funny.
So yeah, what could be? My allergies been so crazy that I've started snoring at night, and I don't know if there's a punch that we could put in there, but
What's
yeah. So that's like, to me, the lowest hanging fruit, like the most obvious opportunity for another place for another punch there.
right? So
You know,
my allergies have been going so crazy.
something else I could do is, so my allergies been so crazy I've started snoring at night. But hey, like something like this, like do the contrast thing, but that's better than what I used to do, which was waking up in the middle of the night shouting Game of Thrones. I don't know, like I could like add something in there that I wake up and do or shout.
Yeah. Let's see. Or you could almost be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying there.
So my allergies have been so crazy that I've started snoring at night. So that's better than waking myself up by shouting Game of Thrones, or I don't know. What else? What could I shout there that would be, funny? So I can leave that blank and then come up with, something that I shout. That that's, I don't know, 2 4s. That's around the 18 to 22 mark.
Already
And
right
then
there.
yeah. So then it would pick up. My wife walked into the house yesterday, so I don't really need to say that. I could just say my wife, in an attempt to tell me what to do, said here and threw me a box of nasal strips.
Or could you almost say like, my wife hates my snoring. She said, here's a box of nasal strips.
Yep, definitely. My wife hates my snoring. She said, here's a box of nasal strips. I could never do that, right? Like I could never do that.
In going back, could you almost say something like, but I'm getting better when you're saying my allergies are so bad, could you say, but I'm getting better. I used to pee the bed too, or something like that. So then they think your allergies are getting better, but actually you just quit pissing the bed too.
Ah, yes. So my allergies have been so crazy that I've started snoring at night, which is better than pissing the bed.
But I'm getting better though. I used to piss the bed or pee the bed. Yeah.
But I'm getting better. I used to piss the bed. That's kind of funny. So here's and both of these jokes now I think are right in my 18 to 22 word range. So my allergies been so crazy that I've started snoring at night. But I'm getting better. I used to piss the bed. My wife hates snoring. And my wife hates my snoring. She said, here's a box of nasal strips. Like, I could never do that. Like, here's coupon for driving lessons, or something like that.
I like that I could never do that because it almost makes me think you're talking about you can never do the nasal strips, but then it's a surprise of like, here's driving lessons,
Right. So I think that's good. Like we got an extra joke out of this now, and hopefully I'll get to try this at some point, both of these jokes, but they both fall within my word range rule. Here's another reason for that. So I forgot to mention, in addition to all the like scientific writing studies, right? Comprehension.
Mm-hmm.
in comedy, like I think a good goal. Now, some people would poo poo on this or like sneer at this or whatever. But another kind of common adage is that you want about 6 laughs at least per minute. So we call this LPMs, right? Laughs per minute. And if you think about that, 6 laughs per minute, that means you're really needing to get a laugh like once every 10 seconds, right? And if your joke is between 18 to 22 words, it's going to hit that 10-second mark, right? So that would mean that I have, 6 jokes. Now, ideally, I'd be able to throw some tags in there
Okay, yeah.
to up it from like just 6 laughs per minute to like 10, or 12, something like that. But at a minimum, I know that if I have 6 jokes like this and they're that word length, I'm going to get 6 laughs a minute.
Got it. Okay, yep. That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's a mathematical and like scientific thing.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's another interesting thing I've kind of been learning is when I go up and I'm tweaking something, I realize I only really want to tweak one thing, maybe 2 things, because if you tweak too many variables, you don't know what part made it more funny,
Right.
you know?
Yes. That's a great insight. Yeah, absolutely.
But you're right, it's more of a science than I
Yeah.
realized.
Yeah. The other joke that I'm working on, I only have a setup or a premise,
Okay.
right? So it's not really funny yet because I don't have a punch. But I'm just letting it sit and marinate, right? Like I'm trying to think of potential punches. But here's how it goes. I just moved from Honolulu, Hawaii to Asheville, North Carolina. So now I don't have to put Honolulu on my address every time I order to clean. So I just think it could be funny, right? I don't have to put Honolulu on my address every time I order, and I could modify that, or now I have to put, Asheville on my address every time I order blank. So what's something funny that I could order? So now I don't have to put Honolulu on my address every time I order a Russian bride. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
This
don't
would
have
be
a
good
punch yet.
for our viewers too, to put in the comments what they
Yeah,
think the tag should be.
absolutely. Keep it clean. I'm a clean comedian, so even if you did put like a dirty punch, no chance I'm using it. I only work clean.
Yeah, me too.
This is what I'm sitting on. I don't know if anything else comes to mind for you,
Okay,
Brandon.
let's do it one more time. You say it one more
Yeah,
time?
so I just moved from Honolulu, Hawaii to Asheville, North Carolina. So now I don't have to put Honolulu on my address every time I order a Russian bride or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or now I have to put Asheville on my address every time I order, So I like the first place my mind goes is like if I'm doing the Honolulu one, I want to think of something Hawaiian.
Yeah.
If I'm doing the Asheville one, I want to think of something kind of like hippie / country, So like that's where my mind goes initially, but
What like is moonshine hippie?
that probably could be considered country / hippie a little bit.
Okay.
Definitely country. Yeah. So now I don't have to put Honolulu on my dress every time I order moonshine.
Or meth. I feel like that's
Or my-
country.
Yeah. Yes. No, now I don't have this every time I apply for welfare checks. I don't know what. So.
Oh yeah. What about when I check in like with my parole officer or something?
Ooh, that's good.
Something about that.
Check in with my parole officer. Yeah, nice. So I have this thing, and I didn't totally come up with it, but I put my own spin on it. And it's kind of working at 3 different levels. So I heard Anthony Jeselnik one time talking about, I think he called it like third level writing or something. He called it third something, third level writing. And at the time I saw this clip from Jeselnik, I was reading through a book on writing. So, and in this book, right at the exact time I'm hearing, reading this chapter, I see this video from Jeselnik, this author is talking about, we write at 3 different levels. And, she says like level 1, we sort of write at the gut level. Level 2 is we write at the heart level. And level 3 is the mind, right? And so I put those 2 things together. And a lot of times now when I write jokes, I'll force myself to do this exercise, right? I'll come up with, all right, what is the level 1 gut level punchline that I would come up with here?
Like most.
That's it. If
Okay.
most people would think it or could think it. If
Okay.
they paused right before I said the punch,
Yeah.
they could probably figure it out. 2 is like add more passion, emotion, heart to that, and it makes it a little more complex. It ups the complexity level, and maybe half the people would be able to anticipate, or a little bit less where it might be going.
Okay.
And then like 3rd level, that mind adds the most complex layer where really nobody would have saw that coming. So you get the ultimate surprise, the ultimate mystery.
That's what he's amazing at, is that 3rd.
Yes, he's incredible at it. And so that's what he's known for, right? He's master of those misdirects. So I kind of like force myself, like parole officer, I would say that's like somewhere between 1 and 2 for me. But Russian bride, like that would be a number 1. Like, so then like what would be a number, like the level 2 and then the level. And so I do make myself work through the levels rather than like skip levels.
Yeah.
You can't really skip them and do the exercise successfully. So that's where I'm at on that joke. Now I have couple of level 1s and eventually hopefully get to level 2 or 3 on that. So
yeah, or it could almost be like from prison at the end. So now I have to, put North Carolina from prison.
And so now I don't have to put Honolulu on my address every time I write from prison. It's not bad. Okay. All right. So what about you, man? You got any jokes you're working on?
Yeah. So I'm kind of working on this premise here, but okay. So I was at Olive Garden with my wife last week and it was just for lunch. And so, when they like take you back and they're seating you, they'll ask like, are you guys coming for lunch or dinner for any special occasion? And it's just, I think it's wild that Olive Garden's asking, like, I find it like offensive that like, yeah, I don't know, that I'm at the pinnacle of my year and then I chose to celebrate it at Olive Garden.
So that's funny, dude. The idea that Olive Garden is being presumptuous.
Yeah. Yeah. That like, baby, we made it. Let's go to Olive Garden. Like, no, not a steakhouse or anything like,
dude, that's a really good premise, dude. I think Olive Garden needs to stop being presumptuous. That's funny.
And then I have I've got like a comparison. Like that'd be like buying some Hanes undies and the Walmart cashier asks if you're going on a date with a supermodel, Oh, maybe that's not, but yeah, I was thinking like I just thought that was wild that they asked like, are you celebrating anything? It's like, no, I'm having lunch.
Yes. So that's funny. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind for me when I think of Olive Garden is endless breadsticks.
Yeah.
Right. So I wonder if you could, that would be like that level 1 thing, right?
Yep.
So yeah, Olive Garden needs to stop being presumptuous. I took my wife there the other night and they asked if we were celebrating anything. Yeah, I love how you said it. Like, yeah, the pinnacle of my year. I want nothing more than to get endless breadsticks.
Right.
The pinnacle of my year. I love that phrasing. That's really good phrasing.
And could I say almost something like, it's almost they think I'm white trash or something like that and be like, and then I go, yeah. And so the unlimited soup, we're only ordering one unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks. Like we're going to share it, like, which would be like pretty white trash, I feel like.
So you're going there to, as like a poor white guy who can't afford it, and you're going to take advantage of their generosity. So it's funny because, right, you could set the joke up like they're being presumptuous, yet in the end, you're the one being really presumptuous.
Yeah, right. I'm actually white trash, what they assumed. So yeah, that could be like level 1. I think a good comparison could be good there too, like that's like this.
Yes, I agree. I think, that's like shopping for, you said the underwear at Walmart and she's asking if you have a hot date or, what's another? So what is the analogy there? Like you're celebrating something, you're going to a lower scale place, but they're presuming that it's like high upper scale for you.
Exactly. Like, this is the best restaurant I'm going to all year, and like we are celebrating, and I'm gonna really treat you to Olive Garden.
You could just be a smart aleck right at the beginning, right? Are you guys here celebrating anything? Yeah, I've been saving up all year to come to Olive Garden. To just be a jerk right out of the gate, kind of.
Yeah, like a protagonist on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is another place, if we moved away from Walmart, what's another place that's like low class where they would presume that you are there to celebrate? Jail is an obvious one. A gas station, like what are some other
Yeah.
what are other places like that?
Or even going to Walmart, buying golf clubs from Walmart, and then the cashier saying like, "Are you playing in the PGA tomorrow?" Or like, what?
That would give you an opportunity to redefine what PGA stands for.
Yeah. Poor guys.
Poor
Poor Guys Association.
Yeah, is that what does PGA literally stand for?
I think Pro Golfers Association.
Okay, yeah. So Poor Golfers Association, yeah, something like that. So you could potentially go that direction as well.
Or could it almost be like, that's like going to a Kia dealership and the salesman's like, looking for your dream car? It's like, what?
That's hilarious because I just got a Kia car today. That's so I literally just got a new Kia today.
What'd you get?
That's so great, bro. It couldn't have been better timing. It's called a K4. It's a nice little car.
K4. Oh, that sounds like a dream car.
Yeah, dude. That's great. That's brilliant, bro. That's the only dealership I went to out of all the cars. I didn't go to Chevy, Ford, Subaru. I went to Kia, bro.
Yep.
That's killer that you just said that. Yeah, that's a good one. I think, yeah.
So I'll have to trim the fat on that, but I think there's some like pretty good structure we could put around that.
Yeah, I think so. What else you could say, no, we don't, our family doesn't celebrate at Olive Garden. We come here to blank, we come here to mourn, we come here to cry. I don't know, like what else could you do to cause that contrast?
Oh yeah, that's something you could do too, almost to be like a smart aleck of, oh, you celebrating anything? And you'd be like, my so-and-so died or something, like.
You celebrating anything? No, I came here to give up. Don't say anything, but I'm about to divorce my wife. Yeah. So that's a good one. I think that's you could take the joke that direction. I go here to grieve. I go here to mourn. Yeah, I go here to give up. So those kinds of things. And she isn't my wife. Like, I came here to eat alone. What else? So those are some good directions.
Yeah. Those would be some good avenues to go through, like tunnels.
Let us know what the end result of that.
All right, yeah. So next week, we're talking about that. Should we answer an email? We got an email.
Let's do it. We've got some people, even though it's episode 1, we've been telling people about this and encouraging people to get in touch with us. So what do you got here? What have you heard?
This is actually from my friend Dave from Gary, Indiana.
That's already funny. I'm sorry.
It's a nice place.
Dude, I heard they have a great Kia dealership there. And after you get your new car, you can go to the Olive Garden.
Yeah, after you get your dream car.
Oh, man. Really treat yourself. So
all right.
What's this email?
So Dave says, during a Zoom call, somebody shared their screen and I saw a chat window asking if they should mute me when I start one of my rants. Do I bring it up or do I pretend I never saw it?
So he saw it accidentally. It was supposed to be private.
Yeah, they shared they were sharing their screen that chat was on the screen share. Should he act like he's never seen it, or should he bring it up?
Is he reading it on his coworker's monitor right now? That's a good question. I'm the kind of guy, like, I'm dealing with that. One way or another, I'm dealing with it. It's not going to, like, that doesn't get to rest with me. So
I feel like anybody that is like the ranter, guaranteed, no matter what advice we give him, he will be bringing this up at some point. No matter what. So, okay. So what would you do? How would you bring this up then? Would you say, hey, I saw your note?
Honestly, dude, if I was in that situation, I'd be like, hey, Bob, would you mind sharing your screen again? And then I'd just call it out right in front of everybody.
Right there?
Right there. Yeah. That's how I tend to roll, dude. I'm sometimes too transparent for my own good. You know, it's like that's a real strength, but it's got that shadow side because sometimes I don't let, a sleeping dog lie kind of thing when I probably should, but I'm dealing with it and I'm probably going to say, hey, can you share the screen again and call him out right there? And I would probably be a little bit sarcastic about it and be like, I just wanted to point out before I start this rant that you guys were talking about, something like that.
So, and then you would get on to like chemtrails then, like ranting about chemtrails after that.
Yes. What about you? How are you dealing with that?
I think I would for sure address it, but I think I would call that person afterwards.
That's the more biblical way to do it, I think.
Would it? But if it's a group, though, are you going to call, like, am I calling all four people then? Like, hey, I guess I am. I guess I am. Yeah.
Right. So I had something similar. Most of us probably have, where somebody wrote a trash email about me, one of my staff members, and sent it to the wrong person, which was me. They thought they were sending it to somebody else, but it came to me, right? And so I confronted that person, who later didn't get a contract the following year. But I addressed it immediately and directly. I did actually. That wasn't in like a group situation. I knew who he was addressing it to. This was in a church, by the way.
I mean,
of all places.
Did you ask, like, would Jesus like this? Or, like, did you ask that?
Yeah, I mean, we talk in Christian circles a lot. I'm a Christian, about the Matthew 18 principle. Do you know what this is?
No. What's that?
Yeah, so Christian organizations and institutions love to cite this and abuse the crap out of it, right? And so this is where Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 18.
It's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Is that what that is?
No.
Oh, that's different.
No.
Okay.
This is where Jesus says, if you have a problem with another person, go to them directly and address it. And he's talking about particularly other Christians.
Okay.
And he says, if they don't hear you out, if they're not willing to hear you out, go get another Christian and bring them back, and the two of you confront that one person. If they still don't hear it out, go get another person. Do the same thing. And if they still don't hear it out, bring it before the entire church congregation. And if they still don't cooperate or hear it out, expel them from the church, essentially. That's the idea.
I guess who are they to say what is right and
Yeah, I mean,
like their way is the correct thing that they're trying to tell the person.
Yeah, I mean, the idea, I guess the presumption there on Jesus's behalf is that, the collective wisdom that is looking for the good, out for the good of
everybody,
chiefly, will win out, kind of thing.
How does it get abused?
It gets abused when a boss, like manipulates you, silences you, strikes fear into you and keeps you from saying anything, holds your job over your head. You try to confront them and they intimidate you. You try to confront them and they threaten you with job loss. So those kinds of things. And then, eventually it can get to a point I've had to do this as well, like where I've had to lawyer up against a Christian organization. And, the scripture doesn't like that. Paul, the Apostle Paul, in one of his letters says, wouldn't it be better just to be wronged than embarrass the church by going to the courts kind of thing. And that's a hard teaching. It's a hard pill to swallow.
Okay.
So
So they don't, like Christian organizations, is it a sin or something to bring in legal counsel, or is it just like frowned upon? Like,
like that's a really hard question, because in the early church, like just after Jesus' days, they had appointed like elders and people who acted as judges, so that if there were disputes in a congregation, the people could bring the disputes to these elders. Well, what happens when nobody's on the same page and there's still a grave injustice? Then you get a lawyer. But what happened, like in First Corinthians, Paul writes about it. He says the rich people there are taking advantage of the poor people. And when the poor people confront the rich people about it, they make it even worse for the poor people. And in fact, sometimes they go and get lawyers to intimidate the poor people, because they know they can't afford a lawyer and do anything back, to silence them and keep them in their place. So it's crazy, because like all these things were going on in like antiquity, like thousands of years ago.
Right. And it's still like irrelevant a little bit.
Yeah, totally. The other thing there, the way it gets abused, is that there's a difference between like addressing something like that publicly versus privately, right? So my belief is that when someone is wronged publicly by a person or a group of people or an institution, that should be discussed publicly. While other people say, no, Matthew 18, you got to go to the institution, well, no, that's not how it is. If it was done publicly, it's addressed publicly. If it was done privately, address it privately.
Just so there's transparency too then. Okay.
Exactly. So that's my own thinking on that. And yeah, those are hard things.
Interesting. So, okay, so you're saying it was done on Zoom, so it should almost be addressed on Zoom then.
Exactly.
Right there. Okay.
Yeah. 100%. And I'm also like, one of my life principles, I have about 16 life principles I live by. And I'm working on a book. My daughter will be 18 in a few weeks. And every year for her birthday, I write her a letter. And I'll do that again this year. But I also she's getting ready to start college and leave our house kind of thing. So I've been writing these posts on my website, like my blog, like life principles that I want to give her as she like leaves the nest, so to speak. And, one of my life principles is never let the sun go down on anger, or never let the sun set on a problem kind of thing. So I always try my hardest to resolve it as quickly as possible, right then and there, like keep a short ledger kind of thing.
That'd suck if you get pissed at sunset though, huh?
It's terrible.
You only have a minute. Like, look, we got to get this.
It's the worst. Dude, and that has happened before. I don't sleep on those nights. I lay there and toss and turn about it and think about it and run scenarios and pray about it. But that's the worst, dude, is because you sit there and you run scenarios. Well, what if I say this and they say this, or I say this and they do that, or blah, 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 blah. And that whole scenario thing, that's one of the reasons I want to get it solved by sunset, so I don't have to do that. Right?
Yeah, the worst is when you like have these fights in your head and then the next day you actually have the talk and then they're like, oh, okay. You're like, oh.
It's like nothing to them.
Yeah, right.
You can tell they didn't spend a second thinking about
it. Yeah, they go, oh, I said that? Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying.
Dude, that almost makes you madder than what happened.
Yeah.
It makes you angrier than the initial injustice.
Yeah, you're ready for a fight. Do you have any shows coming up this week? I know you just moved, so you're kind of getting things together.
I might try to get out and do a mic this week, if not next. I did contact a venue yesterday about trying to open a room at this venue and sort of making a pitch for that. And then I contacted a sort of friend. He's an acquaintance / friend at this point. He's a writer for Bill Maher. And I had got to have breakfast with him a few months back, and he lives in the area. And so I texted him yesterday and asked if we could meet up. He's out of town, so we're going to try to meet up maybe next week. And I'm going to see if he'll help me get plugged into the scene here, maybe give me some connections. But
now, how's the open mic scene in general there? Pretty good, or?
I don't know yet. I think before Hurricane Helene in North Carolina area, like, it was pretty good. It was, 4 out of 7 nights a week, 5 out of 7 nights a week. And I think on like Wednesday or Thursday, there were like 6 mics going.
Oh, wow. Okay.
on one night, and they had them staggered like 6, 7, 8, and 9, so you
So
could
you hit
hit
a
up
bunch of
like
them.
yeah. So like I was looking on websites and just today, and it said their room was totally destroyed by the hurricane, so
Oh,
they're looking for a new place. And then I couldn't find any open mic information on other stuff, so I gotta find a way to get plugged in. And I also sent out an email um, for the college I work at to like the director of student life. I want to start a comedy club at the college
mm,
where I meet with students and we watch stand up or go see stand up or watch comedy movies or write jokes or do open mics, host open mics. So I got like, trying to work the new room angle, this new club angle, talking with this seasoned comedian who's a pro, and trying to get some insight and help from him. So even though I haven't been on a mic in a couple of weeks, I'm still writing jokes and still trying to create opportunities for myself. So I don't know when I'll get on a mic next, but hopefully soon. I know for sure I got a show at the end of July, a 15-minute spot in Kentucky. But
cool.
so we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens between now and then. What about you? Last time I talked to you, you had some mic opportunities coming up.
Yeah. Yep. So I've got 3 mics coming up this week.
Nice.
All open
Did you
mics. Yeah.
perform any last week?
What's that?
Did you perform any last week?
Yeah, I did. I did one last week, and that was the one where it was literally all comics. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
So I was talking to a room, but
yeah.
yeah,
Nice.
it was good.
So, what do you learn from that experience? What's like the one or two takeaways you got from that?
Yeah, biggest takeaway is so I pretty much it was a 5-minute set. First joke was like it was a bunch of jokes tags, but the first bit was about a minute and the other bit's like 4 minutes, which is a story with a bunch of jokes in it. What I realized was this is at a restaurant and there's a lot of noise at the restaurant. So there will be distractions. So next time when I go to those type places, I'm going to bring like a punchier set without many stories. So in case somebody misses something, they can get back on board quickly, you know?
Great. Yeah, that's a great strategy. It's a really good strategy. And you mentioned that most of the audience was just other comedians.
Yeah, yep. All of the audience was other comedians.
What do you do? How do you play in that situation? Do you try to just work what you brought? Do you improvise? And have you heard the term comedian?
Yeah, where like they're funny to comedians, but like general public, maybe not.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So like I don't know if I have that gear yet where I can shift into or away from like regular comedian to audience into comedian to comedian. I don't know if I have that
Yeah.
gear. I don't know if I can flex that kind of muscle yet because I don't have it.
Yeah. I guess I don't even know if I would really care to have that muscle because it's like I'm trying to do it for actual fans. You know what I mean? Like if comedians don't love it, I guess kind of
Right,
sucks, but I guess it is what it is. But yeah.
right. Well, that's fair. I mean,
Like I got some smirks and some like kind of, but which I think is like kind of typical. You know what I mean?
sounds like my wife.
Exactly.
I tell her.
Yeah. But like with comedians, you're kind of thinking about your set, like remembering your set. You got a lot in your mind or whatever. So they tend to
Yeah.
not be the best audience in the world for open mics.
Yeah. So I try, dude, when I go to those like settings where it's mainly like majority comedians or mostly comedians, like in general in life, like I'm pro laugh. I want to laugh at everything. Like and I'm a generous laugher, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So I try even when it's just comedians in the room to still be the generous laugher.
Right. That's
Not
cool.
necessarily give like charity laughs, but um, definitely just like be supportive. And that's something that's lacking in a lot of these mics, bro.
Agreed. So when someone's like, "Hey, how's everyone doing?" There's you. Ah!
Not quite like that. I'll if they're begging to, talk or do crowd work,
You'll do it.
I'll roll with them. So Yeah, fun times, man. Well,
Cool.
have fun at your, what'd you say, 3 mics this week?
Yeah, 3 mics this week. Yep.
All different venues or
All different venues. Yeah. Yep. So looking
on.
forward to it. Should be fun.
Right on, man. Well, good stuff. Thanks for carving the time out to do this episode.
Yeah,
Episode
for
1.
sure. Episode 1. Yep. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching. And yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, if you are watching, let us know whose background you think is better. My kind of like makeshift dentist office feel, or Brandon's sorry Detroit Lions helmet there in the background.
Looks like an 8-year-old's bedroom.
It's like, what is that, like you got put in a block of resin like a youth league Lions helmet.
Yeah. It's not even real.
Dude, that's funny. This is a hologram. Dude, that's funny, bro.
Hologram.
Yeah, let us know who's back. I should have a more proper background next week, but we'll see.
That's a nice plant, though.
Almost as nice as the chair. We couldn't afford a whole chair, so we just made one out of strings.
You guys are handy.
Yeah. All right. So
Cool.
yeah, thanks for watching and listening to the Pro Laugh. We can call it the Pro Laugh Podcast or Pro Laugh Movement Podcast. What are we gonna call this?
I kind of like Pro Laugh Podcast. What do you think?
Okay.
Pro Laugh Movement? What do you want?
Yeah, the Pro Laugh. I think I do like the Pro Laugh Podcast.
The Pro Laugh.
I don't know. We don't have to have it, but the Pro Laugh Podcast.
Pro Laugh. Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, man. Well, yeah, thanks for doing this. Thanks, everybody, for listening and watching. I'm Michael Halcomb here with
Brandon Latack.
Take care.
Cool. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
It's the Pro Laugh Podcast.
It's pro-life, a movement and a podcast. It's pro-life.